Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, July 2025. Aquarius, let's begin with the big news. The planet that rules us, because I'm one of you, Uranus, is moving from Taurus, where it's considered to be in its fall. It's basically more difficult, and it's been for the last 7 years in a square to Aquarius. So they had some sudden changes, shifts. Aquarians are okay with changes, but still it was more unsettling. There was unstable, especially Uranus being at the bottom of the chart. Where is your foundation, your stability? Some of you maybe didn't feel so secure in stability. Like me, for example, we moved for the last 7 years, 8 times or more. It made big changes in personal life, with home, with family, with children, with parents, uh, and a lot of surprises as well. The day Uranus exactly squared my moon and was on the fourth house cusp in my daughter broke her hand, and suddenly our whole plans for the family changed. So sudden, out of the blue things, surprises happen with Uranus, but it's moving. It's not going to square us anymore. And it also maybe when it was squaring your first house, maybe sudden breakups, sudden changes at your career as well. If it was your sun in Aquarius, if it's your moon in Aquarius in your personal life, sudden disruptions that happen. So there was a lot of volatility and a lot of shocks and instability, but also liberation to some extent. But Uranus, from now on, from the 7th of July, moves to our fifth house, from where, instead of squaring, which is a challenging aspect, it will be trining us for 7, 8 years. So totally different. Life becomes way more stable. There will be still changes, but there will be ones that you welcome, ones that you feel ready for, ones that align with what you want. They won't be disruptive to the rest of your life. They would feel smoother and exciting rather than destabilizing. And Uranus will be in our fifth house almost till the end of the year, then moves back to our fourth house. So there might be a few things more we need to do till the beginning of the spring of 2026, and then it fully moves into our fifth house to stay there for 7 years after that. 7 years. So this video, bookmark it so you can come back to it and watch it over the next 7 years. So you know if you're aligning with that energy and what to expect. When Uranus is transiting the fifth house, you whole energy, because you're Uranus, we're ruled by Uranus. Wherever Uranus goes, we invest ourselves in it. Like when Uranus was in my fourth house, I fully invested myself in homes. We got a couple of 2, 3 different homes and in moving all the time, and family and children. Now your energy will shift into creativity, going to the fifth house, into fun, enjoyment, into bettering, improving yourself, because this is a self house, because it's another air sign like you, Aquarius. So Uranus will, in another self house, you'd feel more and more authentic into who you are. You discover what truly makes you joyful, because fifth house is the ability to connect to the flow of life, to feel inspired, to feel in flow, to create like children create, and they don't care what they create. So this whole energy will shift into you creating. You might be called to create something wonderful, something unique. Fifth house is, especially in Gemini, it's about original ideas that you might suddenly download to create something. You might write a book with Gemini there or something. And I cannot tell it when exactly. To find out, you need to know the exact degree of your ascendant, of your moon or sun in Aquarius. And I show it in my webinar, Uranus in Gemini, which is 5 hours long. You don't need to know any astrology to understand it. It's done so simple. It's with manual. I tell you where every planet in your horoscope is. Say if you have the moon in Aquarius or your sun at 26 degrees, and I show you how to find out what degree it is and which year exactly Uranus will trine you. And those things that I'm talking about, or also to see where exactly the fifth house cusp will be for you. Or you might have here the sixth house cusp in Gemini, and to hear and to listen to that house as well, because this is more general horoscope. I cannot do it specifically for you, but that webinar goes into anything. And maybe Uranus from there will square a planet you have in the second house in Pisces, or maybe Uranus will trine a planet you have in Libra. And exactly well, exactly you can never say, but what will happen with stories from people whose life I've observed with real stories. So you have expectations what's happening, but Uranus will really help us as Aquarius to find our talents that we were not aware of. Fifth house is natural born talents. I don't know, I might discover talent for singing. I highly doubt it. But talents for making movies, talent for something that you become very passionate about. You'd pour out your whole soul about some project. Fifth house is project, passions, hobbies. Some of you might turn it into a career. Some of you might turn it into a hobby that gives so much meaning and joy in your life. So if the spark was lacking from your life, it's not going to be like that anymore. Maybe not immediately from the 7th of July. Maybe you're later born Aquarius. Maybe your ascendant is later degrees. But already you start feeling this opening up. The fifth house is the heart chakra, and to feel love to something, to connect to something. And this brings me to another topic. Uranus in your fifth house can actually make you fall in love. That literally. Or you can fall in love through a hobby, or through a new passion, new project, new business, or you can fall in love actually. Or if you're already in love with someone, or you need to shake up things a bit romantically, Uranus can shake up things romantically, so you can re-spark and you fall in love in a different way again with the same partner. You see, I'm telling this because I don't want to fall in love with someone else. So I've seen this as well. Uranus through the fifth house, something happens. They have a child, for example, suddenly out of the blue, and they uh, fall in love in different ways. So they suddenly, as a couple, decide to do more Uranian things, to be more spontaneous, to travel. Uh, and or they have to spend some distance apart, and this makes them realize how much they love each other. But you need to change something to respark the spark, and Uranus will change something to respark a romantic spark, or it will bring usage, becoming in love. And as I said, it's not always a human you become in love with. It might be a child, or not, I mean, not a man or a woman. It might be a child, it might be a hobby or a passion. You become this creative genius when Uranus enters your fifth house. Even if you're dull, I have many days when I'm very dull and no original thought comes through my mind, seriously. And then Uranus, I know and I feel it and I'm excited. Uranus through the fifth house will give us this spark, this creativity. I had a friend who had Uranus transit in her fifth house recently, and she suddenly got pregnant. She suddenly fell in love first, then got pregnant. And well, it's a 7-year transit, but still went exactly on the cusp. So that's what the webinar shows you. It's only $20. And suddenly all those, get falling in love, getting pregnant. And during that Uranus transit, she also created 2 businesses that she developed, which were her own original ideas. She developed them all and so on. You can also start using for your creations more digital technology, AI. I really want to start making movies, like movies about heaven, about life after death. And maybe someone can help me, who knows? If it's God's will, with Uranus in the fifth house, I don't want to participate in them. I just want beautiful, inspirational movies for people. Maybe others will do them. Uranus in the fifth house can also indicate suddenly breaking up with someone, especially if you have some planets that Uranus is squaring or opposing, maybe planets in Pisces, in Virgo, Sagittarius. Or if you're having Uranus opposition your natal Uranus in Sagittarius, who knows? They might fall in love, but it disrupts the peace of your life. Or you just want to be more creative, more free, definitely with Uranus in the fifth house. And all Uranian things that you do are very auspicious for Aquarius for the next 7-8 years. Again, astrology, AI, esoteric knowledge, social media, internet, anything alternative, anything cutting edge, anything a bit esoteric as well, or higher knowledge. Uranus at higher vibration is divine knowledge, and fifth house is teaching, learning. Also, if you have children, there can be a new phase in their life. Sometimes this is those 7-8 years, a period when children might leave. So you're free and liberated from children, or suddenly appear, or children become more independent. Depends what aspect Uranus is doing through your fifth house. Is it going to be shocks and surprises with your children that are more stressful, or with your love life, or is it going to just flow easily? I explained this in the webinar. Anyway, but let's focus now specifically on this month. These are influences just for this month now, not for the next 8 years. Venus is the home month in your fifth house. So anything we talked about that, you can have more fun now. You can be more comfortable with center stage roles. You can be more flirty with Venus in the fifth house. You can express yourself creatively with more ease. You can have more creative ideas, especially that the ones about making something more beautiful, more attractive, more presentable, more magnetic. And for your romantic life, definitely it is improvement. Go on a date. You can have more fun with your partner, or go on a date that goes much nice, quite pleasant as well. Or holidays, enjoying yourself, or finding or doing hobbies again that are pleasant, that are enjoyable. You see the same themes, but much shorter influence. And then Uranus kicks in. Then we have a lot of planets in the seventh house. So it's going to be a lot about others. First, there is Mercury, who will be 2 months in July and August in our seventh house. So there is a lot of interactions with others, and it goes retrograde around the middle of July. So already from the middle of July and into the middle of August, you might be meeting up with people you haven't met for a while. Friends, or, other people in your life. Seventh house is other people, not necessarily marriage partners only. Or maybe reconnect with old clients, with people from before. We had Mercury retrograde in Leo last year as well, and that's what happened for me. I was meeting up friends that I haven't seen for a while. But of course, there can be some situations where you need to say things that you've postponed saying, that you've put under the table, especially if something is upsetting you with a partner, that need to be talked out. The terms of contracts need to be renegotiated in business, or in any contract, or in your personal relationships, where Mercury, let's change the rules. Like maybe you take more care of the kids now. Maybe we go on a date every Friday. Let's make this relationship work. And if there is, and Mercury is very fair and balanced planet, and if it feels like there is no desire from the other side, sometimes relationship can break apart during Mercury in the seventh house, maybe with a business partner, maybe with a collaborator, because you feel like it's too much, it's not being fair on both sides, or there is no desire from the other side to collaborate, or maybe some things that were unspoken need to be said, so people on both sides are clearer with their responsibilities and their commitments. That's another way it can play out. So yes, there can be some tense aspects, moments during July, especially from the middle and August, where you need to say those things that were unsaid. And sometimes it's about and usually Mercury would improve the relationship after that, and you say, oh, so glad we spoke this out, things are running much better now. But sometimes it can be like, even though Mercury is not making hard aspects to other transiting planets now, but you never know. Very much depends on the personal horoscope. If you have planets in Taurus and Scorpio, Aquarius, Mercury will square or oppose them. So there can be some more tension that comes to you from others. They call you out on something, or there is some miscommunication that you have to address. But also there is a new moon in your seventh house on the 23rd, 24th of July. So also new people will enter your life, or maybe possibility for a new partner for some of you, especially the early degrees Aquarians, the first 5-6 degrees. But also a power struggle, because Pluto is opposing this new moon at 2 degrees Leo in your seventh house, and Pluto is at 2-3 degrees Leo as well. So they can be like provocation from others that mobilizes your willpower. Pluto is willpower, ambition, drive to change, to transform yourself, to change something about yourself, or hopefully it's not some power struggle that starts happening in malicious manipulations. But they can be definitely, or some important development through clients, through other people, some important news, some new development in the life of a partner, and so on, a new one appearing as well, as I said. While also this Mercury is like thinking, should I keep this old relationship or no? Is it worth it? Or how can I improve it? Or these old contracts or these existing collaborations. All right. Then Venus, we said you have Venus in the fifth house. You see, one is romantic partners, one is committed partners. There's a lot of energy going there. Fun times with Venus in the fifth house, a lot of interactions with others with the seventh house activated, maybe even asking for help from others, and because Jupiter is in your sixth house already, in our sixth house, work should be going well. And a lot of those relationships might be work relationships that you're working through or new ones that appear. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. This is all that I can see now. Oh yeah, Saturn will start going retrograde in your third house from the beginning of the month already, from the 13th. For the first time in 30 or 28 years, Saturn goes retrograde in Aries, in your third house of communications. And Saturn is the power to say no. And when Saturn goes retrograde, we really start rethinking our communications. Where do we put our focus and attention? So this retrograde, very likely some of you would say, I'm spending too much time online. So Saturn, the power of no, the power of self-discipline, can allow you to, for example, stop using phone for a bit, or to rethink where you maybe I've been watching too much news. I never watch news. Third house is news, and maybe this is when I'll stop that. Also, third house is siblings, relatives, people in your immediate environment. They can be the change of relationship with them. If the relationship has been one way now, you might start rethinking, you might start seeing more what's not working in these relationships, relatives, neighbors, siblings, even friends. Or there might be that one of those people symbolized by the ninth house, there is a reversal in their life and some situations that you need to support them through. Or you might decide to cut off some people from this group from your life. If you find they're getting too toxic, again, Saturn is the power of no. When it's retrograde, it's even more powerful. It's way closer to Earth. All right. Or you might be reworking some project of writing, speaking, communication that requires extra efforts in July, in August, and then in September, Saturn leaves your third house, moves into the second house where it's going to be retrograde. So you might need to double down on some intellectual project, online project, business project, put extra efforts to correct something, or just with a more critical eye examine what has to be changed and how it can be changed. So thank you so much, Aquarius. The best news was Uranus entering our fifth house, leaving this uncertainties and starting to support us from now on. Our own planet aspecting us is a big thing in a beneficial way. So yeah, check out the webinar below. I think there is early bird price. I don't know if it's still on, but if you're lucky, you might catch it, and it's very cheap. Thank you.